Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is another video in my free and cheap things to do in and around the Orlando area. And today we're going to the Central Florida Railroad Museum, which is in Winter Garden, not far away from Orlando. It's a completely free museum, and I have to say I never really had a huge interest in railroad history before moving to Florida for the first time quite a few years ago. And I started learning just what a huge part the railroad system played in developing Florida, not only as a state, but also in playing a role in how tourism grew in Florida so much. So I have taken advantage of pretty much any opportunity to learn a little bit about railroad history, and I'd like to go to this museum and check it out today. Here we are in Winter Garden, Central Florida Railroad Museum. Oh, the future Walt Disney World Railroad number 2 Lily Bell at work in the Yucatan Peninsula in 1965. Wow. And a historical marker, we got to read that, of course. Tug and grunt. All right, let's go. Oh goodness, the tug and grunt. I was just reading about it on the historical marker out front. Yeah. Oh man, that looks bad.
It was torn down when this was built.
The original depot.
This building here.
This is the same.
Yes, it was wooden, and now the new structure is
How old is this building?
built in 1913.
1913.
So 12 years.
Yeah. All right, we got some interesting family trees here. I've never seen anything like this. The Florida East Coast Railway. Now that's what we used to see when I was in Melbourne. There's all kinds of historical markers for the Florida East Coast Railway in Melbourne. But let's see, the Indian River. Wow, so that's all Henry Flagler's system. This is really neat to see. Southeastern Railroad Company right there. If you were here when I was doing my videos back in November, I remember there's a train in Charlotte that we have at one of our public parks. And I'm pretty sure it was from the Seaboard Airline Railroad. I'm not recognizing any of these names, but this is really this is cool to see just how complicated it is, all these different railroad systems. And they got Charlotte Harbor and Northern, that was it. Leased by this, here it is, yes, leased by the Seaboard Airline Railway in 1925 and absorbed in 1928. But it was the Charlotte Harbor and Northern Railway Company, I'm pretty sure, that train was actually from. It's so cool. There is a ton to see in here. So much, and a lot of this I'm not even gonna understand. So I'm just gonna give you some like pans around the rooms, and then I'm gonna show you the things that pop out and pique my interest. But certainly if you're interested in train history, you should really just come here, because I can't do this justice, I promise. Things like this get me excited. You see these 4 pencils? These pencils could be almost 100 years old, never been sharpened or anything, but isn't that neat that they could be 100-year-old pencils? Oh wow, oh my goodness. The host told me that the most common word that gets spoken here is wow. And that's the first word out of my mouth. This is really cool. Again, guys, I cannot do this justice. Seaboard Airline. I can't do this justice, I can't. But I can certainly tell you what pops out at my eyes. I'm looking for any train here that looks like the one in Charlotte. The Freedom Park Express, if you will. Look, china and fine dining equipment from the Florida East Coast Railroad. You are now riding behind oil-burning locomotives. Note absence of cinders. Florida East Coast Railway. This is called the Mystic pattern. That's so pretty. Oh my goodness, I wish I knew how old that was. Isn't that cool? These are even prettier, and these are from the Seaboard Airline. Wow. It's like being on the Titanic. I don't even know what that thing, what you put in that. Look at this, the Atlantic Coastline Railroad, Flora of the South. That's gorgeous. Here's one of their menus. I wonder what year this was printed. Waiters are not allowed to accept verbal orders. Florida orange juice was only a quarter. Ham and 2 eggs. Wow, that's cool. Each railroad had its own china. I guess I should have learned that before we got started. And the Ohio and Chesapeake Railroad had George Washington on their plates. And then down here, Baltimore and Ohio has Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. Potomac Valley. Wow. These up here are foundry casting patterns for steam engine parts, and they're made out of oak and walnut. Look at all these lights, lanterns, hand lanterns. Let's see, Florida East Coast Railway, that's my favorite one. This is an Adlai I guess it's kerosene lantern. I didn't even see these old signs up here. There's just stuff from the rafters to the floorboards. This is a bench from the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad in its Canova, West Virginia depot. These are all portable railroad telephones. Huh. God, that's just from another era, you know? Long time ago. I just can't imagine. Technology has just come so far that just looks so clunky and big and heavy, and what a time to be alive, you know? Can you imagine how exciting it was to live in the era where railroads were really starting to take off? Like, you talk about feeling like the sky is the limit. I think that must have been every bit as exciting as growing up in the era where the internet actually took off. Look at this. The Walter E. Disney and Roger E. Broggie locomotives have a unique relationship. Their identical numbers have sequential serial numbers, and they have worked together since being built in 1925. Oh, Roy declined to have one named in his honor. I wonder where these are today. Oh, that's the train we rode at Magic Kingdom? Oh, that's so cool. That's the train around Magic Kingdom? That's so neat. Grand Circle Tours of the park. I guess they mean just one of these 4, right? Or not all of these 4. I don't know. Look at these. What do you call these? Xylophones? But here's some sheet music, and it's got Reveille in it. Taps. And this is how you summon your guests to the dining room. Your invitation is carried to their ears by the sweetest musical sound in the world. Oh, here's more about them trains. The Lilibelle was named after Walt's wife Lillian, and it was the first engine to depart from Tampa. And then Walter E. Disney and the Roger E. Broggie followed, and then the Roy was completed later that year due to problems with the engine frame. Look, here she is, eastbound near Plant City. Here she is, heading to Magic Kingdom. Now this is so cool. I know Walt Disney had a very special relationship with railway history, and this is so cool to see that they've honored that here in this museum. Oh, Morse code? Oh no. Wow. Press button to hear the first public telegraph message sent. I wonder what it says. Oh, these mannequins are scaring me. Look over here, we've got pickaxes and hoes, all kinds of tongs, saws, railroad spikes. Wow. Whew, I don't like mannequins. Let's move around him. Rail car movers, truck gauges. Morse, Fairbanks Morse freight scale. Pole hanging above is used to move a car on the adjacent track. These are date nails from 1921 to 1960. Uniform buttons down there on the bottom. Key collection of a conductor. Oh my goodness, that is loud. Yes, it's heavy. Does that go on top of the train?
Yes, most of them are.
All these locks and keys. But what I'm learning is back here, early on, railroads knew that their turnouts had to be protected to make sure the trains did not derail, so locks were added to the switch stands. Okay, they were exposed to harsh elements and had to be made of metals that could withstand the weather. So this, the host just showed me, is like a, he called it a Murphy sink. It actually folds out. There's a water reservoir down here, and it folds up very neatly. I thought it was a chamber pot, but it's not, it's a sink. Isn't that cool?
Space saver.
Yeah, that's cool.
Railroad meat hooks used to haul sides of beef. Favorite thing I've seen yet. This thing is super neat. It's a velocipede. It was brought to Orlando by Mr. and Mrs. Hall, and then I guess it just sort of deteriorated, but there's a whole little book here on how they brought this thing back to life. I don't even know what it is. But what do you do with it? Oh, a hand cart used to railroads and companies prior to the invention of the motor car. It was used to inspect the track for defects. Okay. Check lines. That's a cool thing. I've never even seen anything like this. I didn't know this was a thing. That's really neat. Okay guys, I'm a little sad because I know I did not do this museum justice. Most of these things I don't even understand, but I did really enjoy walking around and learning some things. There is a docent here, or a host. He is so nice. I'm so sorry I forgot his name, but he introduced me to so many different things. A lot of the information that I told you in this video were things he had just told me. I filmed everything that caught my eye, and I had a really good time. It smells so good in there. This is definitely an old train depot, and it just has that old building smell that I love so much. If you're into trains, or maybe you have a little kid who loves trains, this would be a really great place to take them and just spend a little time. I think an hour is about all you need here. That you can learn so much. There's so much to see. And I think especially for like a little kid who's never seen anything like this before, or maybe like a train fanatic, this is an awesome resource. It's totally free. They do accept donations, but there's no charge to this at all. I think that's fantastic. There's so much to do around Orlando that's completely free. This is technically in Winter Garden, but we are basically in Orlando. We're not far. It's worth the trip up here, in my opinion, if you like trains, you like history, or you just want to, you know, explore an old depot. And then Winter Garden itself is a really cool little town. There's lots to do in Winter Garden. I'm not even going to go into all of that because I don't have time in this video, but if you want to spend an afternoon in Winter Garden, there's lots and lots to do here. It's a really nice little town. Bye guys, I'll see you another day in another video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. We'll see you later.